Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet. Today we are getting into another Twice album with the Signal EP, and I'm gonna be honest, it took me a little while to get to this one. I was procrastinating a little bit because there are a lot of albums that they have to get to, and it overwhelmed me. Apparently I can't speak. It overwhelmed me. But I'm actually really looking forward to this. I always love to get a bunch of new Twice songs to listen to, new for me anyway. And I honestly, I didn't think that I would come to love Signal the song as much as I have, but the number of times I've randomly started singing it and doing the little choreo while I'm just going about my life is a lot. It's grown on me so much since the first time that I heard it, which I just think is really interesting. I still think that the music video is very strange, but in a strange way that I find endearing. So I'm looking forward to getting to this album to see what kind of sounds we're going to be dealing with, and just to get so many more new Twice songs into my life. So let's check out the first one. Also, look at all the cutie pies. I don't know why I love this Signal dance move so much, but I do. All right, let's see what they got for us. Oh. Ooh, the bass. Okay, interesting to have some of the synths there, because we had before where with Signal, obviously, right, where Signal is, at least with the music video, is with the alien and contacting this alien and stuff like that, so having the synths that almost feel like this retro vibe of sending signals out and stuff, I think it's interesting to carry that image forward with this song, but almost like this reggae feeling to the production. Now, that's not a musical genre that I know a whole lot about, so I'm less hesitant to point out specifically, because I don't think that I'm the right person to point out whether or not there are features of that here, but that's what it seems like to me. Love the, like, does it hurt your fingers to type in a few words? This idea of trying to get a message back, or with Signal, the whole thing was like trying to get this person's attention or to send out vibes of how you feel about them, right? And then this is wanting some kind of confirmation back, or just anything back, to be like, hey, did you get my message? Do you know I'm here? Just give me anything. Love the very slowed down delivery of the vocals. It has this somber feeling to it, almost like meandering, listless feeling, just to the way that they're delivering the vocals, which I love. Let's slow down. Vocals. Ooh. Okay, I love that idea of, I wasn't really sure where the 3 times a day was going to come into with this, but that idea of just give me something simple. You woke up, are you going anywhere today? Then tell me that you're going to sleep. Just like simple check-ins to just feel like knowing that you're even thinking of me, which I think is a really interesting take on it. I'm equating it to something that's more in the romantic realm, but it could really be anything, right? To be like wanting to build a connection with someone, and the idea that they would want to share such mundane things with you is part of what makes you feel important to them. And even though they're like mundane everyday things, right? But the fact that when someone's just doing everyday things, that you're the person who pops into their head and they want to like share even those moments with you of just, oh, I just woke up. The thing of you're the first person I thought of when I woke up, and you're like the last person I thought of before I went to sleep, and I just wanted to like reach out and say hello or let you know that I'm thinking of you in those moments, right? So just wanting the simple thing of I just want to know that you're thinking of me, right? Which is one of the lines where they talk about, do you think of me or whatever. So I just think it's really cute to have that be the go-to for them, whether it's like something romantic or even like platonic, of just I want that little acknowledgement that you want to share those mundane moments with me because you're thinking of me in those everyday moments. It's not because something significant or special has happened that makes you think of me in particular. It's just like going about your average day and you think of me in those moments. I love the way that it slowed down and Tzuyu coming in with her beautiful vocals. I love that they have very soft, light vocals in this and the like layered vocals in it too, just soften everything out. I love Mina's voice there. Oh. Okay, but I love the like the little dramatic sigh. Oh my goodness. I love the bass in this so much. Ooh, vocals. Not to interrupt, I was gonna be like, oh, I really liked Momo's voice there, and then Junghyun was like, hang on, I'm just gonna give you a little something. But I love the guess video games are more fun than me. Like the passive aggression of, I know it's supposed to be like really sweet and stuff, and I know that they're like in their sweet era and all of that, but just like the passive aggression of, I guess being alone is better than being with me or talking to me or whatever. Just the passive aggression of that is, we've all been there, right? Where you're like, no, it's fine, whatever, do whatever it is you're doing. I guess that's just more important than even just saying hi to me, whatever. I kind of love that buried in kind of the sweetness of the song of just wanting to be like, oh, I just want to be part of those little mundane moments. I just want you to think of me a few times a day while you're just going about your life, to have a little bite to it. But Momo and then Junghyun here, vocals. Ooh. Ooh, I love that they built in that chorus, not only bringing more of the production, but then having moments where it seemed like they were like singing together, or at least having more vocal layers put into it, and almost having this insistence, right? It almost feels like this cyclical thought of you don't want to be continuing to think these same things or to be fixated on the fact that you're not getting a message from this person, right? Because their whole thing is, do you even think of me? I just want you to think of me a few times a day and message me and let me know that you're thinking of me. Whilst in the meantime, they're constantly thinking about this person, right? They're always coming back to the same cyclical thought of, I just want some acknowledgement that you're thinking of me or that you've considered me in anything that's going on with your life right now. I like, even just telling me that you woke up. I just want to be part of something of your life, right? And having the layered vocals come in of almost these more voices is it becoming more and more of a consuming thing in their thoughts of just having more of those kind of internal dialogues adding up. And also I think it shows a unifying factor, not just within the group, but then also as a shared experience, right? I think we've all had moments where we want to be talking to someone or to have more of an engaged relationship with someone, but you can only really message so many times before you feel like you're like being weird or too demanding, or you start to overthink it of, am I putting myself out there so much and this person isn't reciprocating? Is that me trying too much? Are they trying to push me away, or are they just busy? Or, you know, you start to think about it and it can be like a little bit overwhelming when all you want is just any kind of message, just like even just a hi back at that point, right? Would be like, okay, you know that it's me and you're not running away from talking to me and stuff. So I think that it's something that we've all experienced to some extent. Maybe it's just me and my awkwardness and how I'm not good about keeping in touch with people. Maybe I'm projecting a little bit, but it feels like having them all starting to sing together is like digging into that shared experience between lots of different people. Wait, you're dating and they won't text you? Ooh, okay. okay, no, the vocal one, I didn't realize this was a dating situation, in which case they should definitely be messaging you back in some capacity. What was the other line that I with Tzuyu? Oh, they'll treat me well while you have me. Get into some more of that, the bite to some of the words, like I was saying before, of like when they were talking about, oh, I guess playing video games is more fun than spending time with me. The passive aggression there, and now it's coming out of, hey, you have me right now. You might not always, though. Maybe treat me a little better. Maybe. It's such a sweet song sonically that having those little moments just feels more passive aggressive, and I like the juxtaposition of those. I also really love the way that they're using Mina's voice in this, where she's just using a very delicate, light sound. I think that it contrasts really well to have the upper register, but then also I feel like, I don't know, softens some of the pleading in it. Having voices like Nahyun and Tzuyu doing some of those parts in the bridge where it's treat me better while you have me, and the aren't we dating, I'm dating you and yet I'm always lonely, having those moments of where they have a little bit more, I don't know, confidence behind them. So having those stronger, more belting voices with those two, right? And they're getting a lot more closure with their voices than some of the airier voices that we've gotten in other parts. So just like the way that they're choosing who's singing what lines, it's not just about range, but it's also the tone that they know that that person can deliver that line in is going along with the narrative, right? Even having Junghyun earlier, where she had her part right before this second chorus, it was like a little bit more of a plea to it. So having her voice that is very like emotive and has more of that closure and oomph to it, I feel like also fit really well. So just the way that they're choosing like who's singing what parts is just really painting that narrative really well with the tonality alone. I think you should leave them. Ooh. Oh, I'm sorry. Damn, what was that vocal slide? Did she just take us to church for a second? Hang on. Okay, I love that they had some of the like ad-libs in the back though, of say good morning and like kind of this actual messages and almost adding in what the conversations were, like the messages being sent between them. Also love that we got Gio, just what I was talking before about tonality, her getting to show off more of her lighter tone as well here, singing the line that Mina had done earlier, which I think is really cool. Being, again, like them choosing specific parts because they fit with the natural tonality of different voices, but then as we got into this chorus, really playing against those expectations and just letting people fit into pockets of their voice that they don't normally fit into, but allowing them to have that space to show off those tonalities. But Nahyun, was it Nahyun? I know that lyric videos aren't always the most accurate with who's singing what parts, but if it was, dang girl. That vocal run too. Was there almost like a phone ringing in the back of that one? Or am I tripping out? Because I feel like if there was, then it would almost be like either them calling or finally getting the call. Yeah, there's like a phone mixed in there, right? So is that them making the call or getting the call? I don't know. Will I get answers with the next song? I don't know. But overall, I really love the kind of soft, sweet sonically that this was, but with the lyrics playing off those expectations a little bit. It's almost like this, hey, I'm deciding to still play sweet right now, but get your act together, right? Like I'm gonna be very sweet and as understanding as possible, but I'm asking for very little. Maybe reconsider what you're doing, because I'm like asking for the bare minimum and you're still missing the bar. Maybe you figure it out. Especially since a lot of their music earlier on in their career going up to this point is far more in that sweet girly pop vibe. Whenever they introduce moments like that where it's a little bit more aggressive, a little more of a backbone, a little more sticking up for themselves, I love the way that it contrasts. And considering some of their more newer music, I know that at a certain point they're going to dig more into that with their concepts and the lyrics that they have, but it's nice to know that there's some of that there of I'm willing to put up with a lot, but like all I'm asking for is for you to just send me simple messages. You You could tell me what you ate for breakfast. Like, just talk to me, because why am I lonely while we're dating? That should not be a thing. I love the kind of contrast between those two things. I love the way that they arrange their voices to really lend to the narrative of the song too. Just really cute overall. I was expecting nothing less. There's some interesting synths and stuff in the background too of the phone. Loved the bass, loved the very digital sound that I think very much pulls from the concept of the Signal music video, pulling that through. Just interesting with some of the song things. I feel like I could pick apart more if I listened to it, but again, which I definitely will. But let's get into the next song. Just kidding. It's a few days later. Don't mind the continuity. Okay, it's fine. Only you. Excited to see what we're getting in with this one. They're so cute in these pictures. For what purpose, right? Ooh, all the synths coming in. Okay, interesting with all these synths coming in, a little more intense sounding, but really light vocals from them. Was it actually Junghyun as the first vocal? Because I don't know if I've heard her sound like that yet. Okay. I like this idea of thought we were like just friends and then it became something more like that shifting. Like you don't really suspect is going to happen, but then suddenly you realize that there's something else going on in a relationship. Like you've built up something based on friendship. And then once you really stop to look at it, you're like, oh, actually, there's been more going on and I just wasn't aware of it until right this moment. Yeah, just good friends. I love that pullback in the production. Ooh, I love the vibrato she had there. There's an interesting synth on the left part of the mixing. It almost like the mixing only almost sounds like a horn of some kind, but I love we had like very light vocals for a lot of the first verse and pre-chorus, but then when you got into the chorus, of course, switching to Nayeon and Dio, they have more closure and like brighter sounds, generally just like bass tone to their voices. But I like that Nayeon specifically was putting in these little cries, so you can literally feel the tension in parts of her voice, and it just adds a little bounce to the vocals, which is really cute. It's cute overall. I expect nothing less from a Twice song. Honestly, I'm just here for the cute vibes. Love the layered vocals there too. There's almost like a siren happening in the back. Also, the Call Me Jelly. Ooh, jelly, jelly. I love that song so much. Unabashedly, I sing that song all the time. It's my jam. When it comes on, I got my music on shuffle, and that song comes on, you know I'm stopping whatever I'm doing. I'm dancing because I love that song so much, and I love bringing that forward into this song. That's so cute. Why the siren though? Was that Sana? The little like in the back. Oh my gosh. Okay, their voices are super cute. Love the laid back delivery that we're getting from Dahyun as well. It just has this almost trying to be cool. It's almost like compensating for it a little bit too much, where you're like, I'm just gonna pretend to be like laid back and relaxed, but like, deep down I'm like, I'm jealous and heart's fluttering and I'm trying to play it cool because we're friends and we're supposed to like just be good friends, and I'm feeling all these things, so I'm just like pretending that it's normal, but it's not. and there's all this like stuff happening internally, right? So I like having that. Also, I love Mina's voice in general, but I love it on this one of just in these moments where it just has this beautiful little like floaty daydream feel to it, and I really like having that in. There's also just lots of really interesting synths going on with the production, which given the subject matter of the song, I would expect something a little bit more dreamy, more traditionally pop, or I don't know, standard pop sounds for a song that is more geared towards that love and young infatuation, whereas this has a lot of interesting synths going on that's just like, intriguing me. I'm getting distracted by it. Those like filtered vocals? That's right. So cute. Ooh, beautiful Momo. The little cry that she has, my heart, so good. I just noticed, have we had Tzuyu? I demand Tzuyu.
Okay, let's go.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a sauna problem. You have a sauna problem.
Okay, let's go.
It's a fun cadence. Ooh, I was gonna talk about how much I love when they like pull back a bunch of the production, they just let Mina have her moment, but then you switch to Junghyun with those vocals there. Okay. Also, just the production is so interesting on this one. I adore it. I'm like finding all these little like bits in it. It feels like some of it has filtered vocals, some of it's like synths, even like the drums have like a filter on them. I love some prominent drums in any kind of production. So I'm just like, I need to come back and just listen to this song and not be distracted by like how cute they are, the lyrics and their voices and all of that, which, oh no, I'll have to listen to it 100 times just so I can appreciate every part of it. Whatever will I do? That wind up too. I guess there's some layered vocals there too. Ooh, we just let it peter out there at the end. That's such a cute song. Love all the production, like I was saying. Love every time that they just have fun with their voices. And I think that it lean into it a lot more in like their early stuff as opposed to some of the newer stuff that I've checked out. Their vocals are insane in newer stuff. Like, they were always good, but every time they have a comeback now, I'm like, I'm sorry. I thought we had reached the ceiling of how good you were at singing. What do you mean you've gotten better in the last, what, 6 months? Maybe? What do you mean? It's remarkable. But with their earlier stuff, they tend to have a lot more fun, I feel like, in terms of just leaning into the cutesy bubblegum pop side of it, that they can put like a little more like character into certain parts. They definitely do that in their newer music when they're just having fun with certain things and they can add in like little fun textures into it. But I feel like it's definitely amplified a lot more. It's so cute to just see them get to play around their voices and also sound amazing and have some great like support for it. I will say though, did Tzuyu have any lines in this? And if she did, it was not enough, because I feel like maybe at the beginning she might have, unless this lyric video is wrong, in which case I'm willing to concede that is possible. And it was said that she, like, someone else sang her part, but I demand more, because I love her voice. It's beautiful. I'm so excited for her album, the solo stuff that's coming. I don't know when this is going to be posted to the channel, but at the moment I'm like, we're counting down. We're like a few days away, and I'm so incredibly excited because I can't wait to hear what she's going to release and just get to hear her voice more, because she's so good. But that was such a cute song. Loved it. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, Hold Me Tight. What are we going to get with this? Is it going to be cutesy? Is it going to be... I feel like the last one, because even though it had like a cutesy feeling to a lot of it, I feel like the production just elevated a little bit. So I don't know what we're going to get with this. More ballad, more traditional, like poppy love song, maybe something completely different, like They Might Blindside Me. It's definitely possible. Ooh! Taeyong! Look, I don't have a Taeyong problem either. I've already accepted that she's in my bias line, okay? It's fine. That was so cute. The synths coming in though, this feels retro. Oh, I'm excited for that. Yes, please. That like drum fill.
It's time to love. Listen. Hey you.
Ooh, it bops. Ooh, lower range. Wait, okay. Tzuyu, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I did miss you in the last song, so I'm gonna go back so we can fully hear you. All of these drum fills, living for it. I love drums so much, but the bounce that they have in their vocals is so much fun, but also they're like slowing down and speeding up at other parts, so it just has this engaging melody to it. I keep getting my interest snagged again by the way that they're delivering the different lines. Love getting some lower range from Mina here. Gorgeous, because I feel like she does like falsettos so beautifully that I forget that her lower range is also gorgeous. Just love the overall like tone that they're getting into this too, like very bright sounding. I feel like it was a little bit airier in the previous song, so they're getting like a little bit more closure to their vocal cords here. I know that they're basically like all vocal chameleons. They can do lots of different things, but also the I give you signs but you don't notice, the like you know, like I feel like that's I probably pronounced that terribly and I apologize to all Koreans. I am but a Canadian doing their best, okay? But continuing that motif into songs as they go along. Again, referencing their past songs in the last one, referencing them here too. Love that. I love when there's almost like a little inside jokes in the song. You don't need to know the inside joke. You don't need the reference to previous songs to enjoy the song. But if you do get it, it's nice. It's a little Easter egg, right? I love that too, the siren again. Apparently you do have to spell it out. We had spelling the last one. Ooh, vocals. Vocals. Go off, girl. Ooh, beautiful break there. Oh, okay. I love that. Really got into this wonderful bounce in it, but that elongated vocal that Junghyun was doing, of the riff that she was doing, elongating those words, but a lot of movement in the vocal, having that same bounce as the verses vocals, but in a very different way, right? Like different texture to it. Also notice that they had some fun with being a little technical bilabials in their way of doing it, which bilabial just means that like with both lips, right? So there's your B's and P sounds, lots of B's in the pronunciation. So also M's. So they're like popping those a little bit. So it's not just like a B sound, it's like a B. Right? Like they're putting a little bit of a pop into the way that they're pronouncing those, which I think is really fun too. Love the spelling it out that we had in the lyrics because they were doing spelling in the previous song. So interesting, again, like pulling things throughout the narrative. I feel like there was something else. There probably was. Ooh, at the end there with Jio, where we're really pulling everything back, right? Like she softened out her voice beautifully in this more like vulnerable moment of needing to know that this person feels the same way about you, and leading into some of the like frustration of thinking that you're making it really obvious and thinking that you're putting in all the signs that you need to communicate how you're feeling and not getting any kind